And this takes us into our next topic. So you knew we were going to talk about it. We just mentioned it before. It is time to talk about the GL40. All right. Now, I've got a couple different things I want to talk about this with, but let me go ahead and start with this. We have been seeing some dominance from 3 specific guns, okay? And we're going to talk about 2 of them in a minute. We're going to start with the GL40. But 3 specific guns, in my opinion. The Vector, the MK18, and the GL40 have been affecting this game. And I think that's not even debated. Like, everyone would pretty much agree with that statement, I believe. You know, maybe there's 1 or 2 extra guns I'm missing on that, but those are 3 important guns. And we saw things like the MK18 and GL40 be added into the March Room loot pool very recently, guys. And that affected the game quite a bit, as you just saw with Willers dying to the GL40 and Labs. That was happening to people like crazy, things like that. But they actually they left it like that for about a week or 2, but then they removed the GL40 from the loot pool, March Room loot pool, so that you can't get them anymore.
Real quick turnaround.
Yes. So, first off, I want to say, since they've removed it from the loot pool, it's probably harder to get. But as you saw, you literally just talked about, you were just watching Willers, he just went into Labs, just died to a GL40, and he even
Literally
himself is talking. Yeah, just talking about like the place of GL40s in this game and on Labs. So my question for all of us to answer, or try to answer, what place do you think that the GL40 grenade launcher and in the future RPGs have in this game? What can they do to help them fit in well? All right, and I have an idea that I would like to explain to you guys, and then I'll let you guys answer. But my thoughts is, maybe here's one idea, because obviously the GL40, the RPGs, super powerful weapons. They've got to be expensive and stuff like that, of course. But they're vastly different than a lot of the guns in the game, obviously, because grenades are just so powerful. So my thought is, maybe they could do something like, they could have a Grenadier loadout class, essentially, where if you equip either the GL40 or in the future RPGs, things like that, it could limit what other equipment you're able to have on you. So let's say you do have the GL40 and you try to equip another primary or something, it would actually like close off your other primary slot to where you could not have another gun in that slot or something like that. Or you can only carry a certain amount of grenades on you, things like that. So there's a specific loadout class. You're limited. If you equip it, you are limited in what other equipment you're allowed to bring in. You cannot just have everything like you normally do in Tarkov. And like maybe you're saying like, oh, you could just take it off and then put your primaries on and put it in your bag. Well, let's just say if you bring in a grenade launcher, you've got to keep it equipped and just won't even let you like take it out. That's one thought for me. Now, I'd love to hear from you guys. Sorry, I just wanted to explain that full idea.
Instead of like integrating a whole class system, just make it take up both primary slots. Essentially, you just
that'd be the same idea. Yeah, same idea.
Just make it take both primary slots, and then you can only really bring a pistol with you. And then, like, let's just say you can't put it in your bag.
Exactly. Yes, you can't put it in your bag.
Well, like, I don't know how are you gonna find these things? How are you gonna bring them out of the raid if you can't put it in your bag, though?
Well, let's just say if you find it in a raid, like let's just say bringing it in versus finding it in a raid. Maybe there's something that. Okay. Obviously, it has to be ironed out, but yeah.
It seems like a really complicated way to solve like the issue of like an overpowered weapon. I don't know. Like Panda said in the chat, most people want the GL out of the game or restricted from certain maps, such as labs or factory. I don't know. I guess I'm looking at it a different way. Like, I don't know. They made the GL and it's overpowered. And once they start changing game mechanics around it to like make it better, I don't even know why it would be in the game if you can't use it like everywhere, like every other weapon and stuff like that. Like, it feels kind of counterproductive.
I hear you. I think that's a good argument against what you're saying.
Like, I'm not T2. I've never gotten out of a raid with 2 GLs in my backpack and just made bank like that. Every time that I hear a GL on a map, I run the other direction. When I do encounter them, it's 3-4 man. All armed to the freaking teeth to protect their GL guy, and he just, one-shots me. So I think it goes further than, like, I don't know, changing game mechanics to fit around the GL. think they need to change the GL to like fit around game mechanics. Way nerf it somehow.
So we have 2 different paths that we talked about then. 3 different.
Yeah.
We've talked about 3 different paths. We talked about removing the GL40. We talked about and potentially removing it from labs and stuff like that. I guess that's another idea. But we've talked about adding a new loadout for the GL40 or like changing game mechanics, and you're suggesting that they should just adjust the GL40 itself. So all of these would be viable. I think when it comes to removing the GL40, they've already taken the time to add it into the game. They've scanned it. They've modeled it. They put it in the game. They have a skill, like an RPG skill and stuff. They clearly want this in the game. And it makes sense because this is a battle simulator, and these are real weapons. So I don't see them removing this from the game. I just don't. So I think it's like, how can we make this fit into the game better? We're always going to have to answer these questions, because if they do want to add RPGs and stuff, it's going to be a question. So I think you're right. I think it has to come down to one of those other 2. I think it's either change the mechanics of the GL40 itself or change the game mechanics to fit the GL40 and RPGs to help them integrate into the game. So it's 2 different paths, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
Now I hear you. I don't think it would be changing the game mechanics vastly to add a Grenadier loadout. I will say that. When it comes to that idea, I think a lot of other like FPS games already have loadouts, and so it's already like an understood thing. Maybe they'd have to add more onto the actual loadout creation in Tarkov to like make that more understandable. But I just don't know. I mean, I guess if you're saying, like, if Tarkov, what they're going for is you should be able to have all these different kinds of loadouts that you want, and we don't want to restrict you, then I think we have to go down the route that you're talking, Sieglem, where you have to actually change the grenade launcher to not be as effective. But if they're fine with like adding new loadouts and stuff, then I think that's reasonable.
The thing about the loadout is that like that forces this man to have a GL40 in his hands at all times. Mm-hmm. And like, I'd rather him have the meta HK out there that's on his back. Like, if he has any reason to switch from the GL, I'm down for it. If he's stuck with it, that means he's just gonna abuse it.
Well, like Sidu said, GL40. Well, if you buy a GL40, if you spend $400K, you're gonna there's abuse. Like, you're gonna use it. You know, I'm gonna use the shit out of that thing. But like Connor said, if you could switch to a like handgun or something, or maybe maybe they just don't let you bring like full ARs or something, like smaller guns or something like that.
But Seglem also brought up a really good point by saying, like, you know, just going with a 4-man, bring in 1 GL, and then just surround them with fucking bodyguards. And then, like, that's pretty, I mean, like, that pretty much just, like, defeats the purpose of these, like, nerfs that we're, like, you know, talking about.
That's what like, they do anyways already. That's already meta. And, like, I don't know, it wouldn't change it that much. And, like, changing mechanics of the GL, like, something like, oh, grenades don't do as much damage, like grenades don't immediately explode, shit like that. That takes away the realism of it, though. So like, it's really a delicate balance.
It is a delicate. This is a hot topic right here, dude.
Like, what are they gonna do when they bring in RPGs, right? You know,
hot
RPGs
topic.
Explode instantaneously.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, people aren't gonna be ready for the RPGs. I know that.
I think it would be very difficult to find a good balance for the mechanics of the grenade launcher in the RPG. If you do want it in the game, it's going to be really difficult to nerf those down to where they still seem like realistic, I guess, in a way. Right. So I feel like you might have to go the route of like the loadout or something to just like add some sort of negative to where it's like, all right, I've got an RPG or a GL40 and that's badass, but it's not OP as much as it used to be because now I can't wear some crazy armor, or I can't have an HK on my back as well, like something like that. You know what I'm saying? I see what you're saying. Though.
Gain thing, I don't know. Make it pretty heavy. Yeah, also more realistic things going out of the window. So,
maybe like make it to where you can only put the ammo on your like vest or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
know, guys. It's a really hot topic. Chat, obviously, let us know if you guys have any more ideas about that. What Panda's saying, labs is also mainly just hallways, so you have nowhere to run, such as red and violet. Yeah, it's gonna have to. This is a question that's gonna have to be answered over time. Obviously, they don't know the answer. We don't know the answer. It's a matter of debate. We've got multiple solutions. We'll have to see what they want to do. We're gonna continue to talk about this. So please, if you're on YouTube, drop a comment. Let us know in chat what you guys think. We will touch on this again. As we kind of digest it a little bit more, but this is the first time we wanted to bring it up.